Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing offers every single day. Rudolph and AJ coming at you live as the Avs take on the New Jersey Devils in an, I mean, it's not a matinee, but it's an early game.
It's early for us. It's normal time.
It's the 7 o'clock Eastern start. You know how it goes. Everyone's happy about it because nobody has to stay up way past their bedtime, except for the Europeans, which you
Do
do
that to yourselves. That's every game.
Yeah, you know the drill if you're out there. So, sorry, not sorry. Obviously, the big note for this one for the Avs, Valeri Nichushkin day-to-day with a lower body injury. We'll talk about that a bit more a little bit later, but it's the first half of another back-to-back for Colorado, and then they get basically a week off as they go to Finland after this. So, at the very least, no excuse to not leave everything on the table this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they have a back-to-back, and then they have a week off, and then they have a back-to-back, and they have a week off. So,
yep.
you know.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But is what it is. At very least, these next two back-to-backs, their opponent also will be on a back-to-back for the second one.
Yeah, the Islanders also play tonight. So,
yeah. So at least it's not
so tomorrow night
rested versus non-rested.
Yeah, yeah. And the next two sets of back-to-backs, that's the case. It was really just the first two
that were a bit messy.
Yeah, where they were getting turbo fucked.
Don't have a better way to put it than that.
I mean, the Calgary one was the ultimate bullshit,
yeah,
man. It's the ultimate nonsense.
Yeah, that one you knew was going to be bad, and it was. So,
yeah, if Mikko scores that goal, who knows how that game goes?
I think they probably still lose.
I do too, but you never know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
tonight's
I'm excited for tonight, man,
yeah.
because the game in New Jersey last year was such a fiasco.
I mean, that one was
they played poorly,
got away with it for half the game,
got up 3-0,
and then imploded
and completely fell apart. And then nothing changed about how they were playing.
Yep.
They continued to play poorly after they got the lead. It was just the frustration with it was that they had the lead. Like, there are games where teams don't play very well and they just get beat, and you're like, okay.
I mean, I don't care how bad you're playing. You can't be blowing 3 goals.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it ended up being one of the games I actually remember most from last regular season because they played so poorly, but somehow ended up with the lead.
Yeah.
And just threw it away.
Yep.
It was the hardest throw we saw all year until St. Louis Game 5.
Yeah, the St. Louis Game 5. Like, at least in the New Jersey game, there was an excuse of well, it's a back-to-back. They clearly weren't playing well.
Yeah, they weren't playing well at all in that St. Louis Game 5. They were dominating that game.
They just shut down for the last 10 minutes.
And then they just stopped playing hockey. Yeah.
So, definitely.
I definitely am excited to see how they kind of get back to that. But this is also a Devils team that's, just in general, kind of fun to watch.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. I wouldn't say it's good necessarily. I know you will say that it's good, but
I mean, I think they're okay, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm not picking them to win a playoff round, but their offense is explosive. Their defense is fine.
Yeah.
And it really is a case, I think, of they go as their goalie goes. You know, they're not a team that can. They're not a team that's going to lock the other team down so thoroughly that guy faces 22 shots and you're just kind of like,
there's no easy nights in that net.
If he gives up 2 or 3 goals in that case, we're still going to be okay, I think, because we're going to outscore those problems. But they're a team that's going to give up plenty in their own end. But their defensemen are talented enough that they can get some of it back.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I mean, Damon Severson and Dougie Hamilton, John Marino, Ryan Graves, it's a solid group there. It's not.
I think it's a little suspect in its own end at times.
It's a group. Well, I would agree because each one of those guys has major limitations to their games.
Yeah.
Dougie is the only complete guy, but since he got to New Jersey, hasn't quite put it all together.
It's been a little bit
the same way that he has for the previous 8 years of his career.
Yep.
John Marino is pretty much a defense first player. Ryan Graves, we're all very familiar with, is
his shortcomings. Yep.
Good, smart player, but has physical limitations that can get him in trouble.
Yep.
And Damon Severson, in his own end, isn't very physical and can get worked in important areas of the ice, and is more of an all around, like he's just like a jack of all trades, master of none type.
Well, he never really quite broke out the way everyone was hoping he would.
He's just continued steadily along as like a good player.
Yeah,
never taking that step into great territory.
Yep. And
now that he's got other players around him who actually belong in the NHL. He doesn't look so much better than previous teammates. The Devils like high octane offense. You know, Jesper Bratt is maybe one of the more unheralded scoring stars in the NHL right now.
Yep.
Obviously Jack Hughes is a stud, and Nico Hischier and
all
Dawson
those top
Mercer
end picks they have. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much talent there.
Yep.
Sharon Govich is one of the. He's a really fun player to watch. I like him.
Well, that brings us to our first topic of the game. You have two high-powered offensive teams. The one who possesses the puck more, probably going to win the hockey game.
Yeah, you have to feel good about that.
Yeah. Avs have been a pretty darn good possession team over the course of the last 3 seasons, really.
Yeah, it hasn't been great so far this year. And now with no Nichushkin, who's like your
main guy.
The ultimate guy who elevates whatever line he ends up on, it is going to be a challenge in this one.
I am curious how you feel about the possession from this season, because there are some interesting conversations there. Some of it is some serious score effects where they've given up crazy numbers of shots in third periods. Some of it is that Seattle game where they just got smoked. Where do you feel about the Avs possession game this year?
I feel fine about it because they've been competitive in their games, mostly. The Calgary game gets away from a little bit, but they get outplayed in the Seattle game.
Yeah.
And then they outplay Vegas pretty solidly up until the third period, and maybe even the last few minutes of the second period, when it was pretty obvious that the legs went.
Yeah, there are.
And that's the thing, is the
context for those
there are
situations.
Some mitigating circumstances when we're dealing with small samples. It's why I haven't made a really big deal as like the numbers guy around here.
Yeah.
I really haven't made a big deal of it because there's context to be involved there. The back-to-backs and the way that they've been, the way that their schedule's kind of played out so far.
Yep.
Really, I think the Rangers game started off really encouraging and then ended up discouraging, and that you ended up in more of a shootout than you wanted.
I mean, it ended up a total shootout.
And then a literal shootout at the end. But
given who this team is, I don't think they would ever be happy with the game where they give up 40-plus shots.
And and really, like, 30 was such an accomplishment for teams in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That seeing them come out of the gate this year and give up like 33 per game or whatever it is right now.
Yep.
It
feels high for sure.
It is high, and they haven't responded with 33 of a game on their own end. They've really struggled a lot more, as we've talked about. Their 5v5 play just has not been very good. It hasn't been disastrous. It just hasn't been very good.
Yep.
We've watched this team now. We've gotten spoiled watching them just fucking dominate.
Absolutely
At
dunk on teams
5v5.
at
Even
5-on-5.
strength has been where they have housed teams the last several years.
Yep.
And that hasn't been the case so far this season.
Yeah, it's just the truth. And like you said, they're fine at 5-on-5. You don't really have serious complaints about the way they're playing, but it's, hey, you'd like to see a little bit better finish. Hey, you'd like to see a few less critical mistakes. And like you said, it's... this team is capable of so much better than that at 5-on-5.
Definitely. And, like, you do not have a Gabe Landeskog in your lineup. And when you're talking about, look, he may not be your best player, but he's such an important player, especially when you're talking about what they're coming back from. from the Stanley Cup final to opening to now, you have no Nazem Kadri, you have no Andre Burakovsky, you have no Game Landeskog.
Yep.
Even if the Landeskog thing is temporary, that isn't just a ton to lose off of a forward core.
Right.
You've lost
An
one of
entire
the
second
league's
line, yeah.
best second lines just in those guys.
Yep.
And you're watching now. Both of those guys are getting first line minutes.
Yep.
In their new locations. So to even call them a second line is just more of a testament to what Colorado had. That they just had another first line just sitting on their roster like that.
Yep.
And they've lost that. So their struggles at 5v5 aren't a huge shock. But they also, with a timeline for Landy now,
Yeah.
you know, like, hey, he's coming back, but that's half the season.
Yeah,
he's missing.
You got to shape up without him.
Yeah, you've got to figure it out.
And
Now no Nichushkin
Right,
tonight
yeah.
only compounds that. No, day to day, just me speculating here. Day to day, I doubt he plays tomorrow,
why would you?
and then you have an entire week off.
He can be good to go in Finland.
Exactly.
If it's somehow more serious than that, you give him 2 weeks off.
The one thing about the Avs being as good as they've been is that they've been able to make the safe choices.
You
Like
never
that
have
with
to
their
rush
lineup.
anyone back.
They're
Yep.
not forcing guys into the lineup. They're not pushing them in a way that a team that is on the bubble of the postseason that is truly valuing. Hey, these points are we may absolutely need these points at the end of the year.
Yeah.
They don't have that kind of attitude. They don't have that mentality.
Pressure's not on in that.
Yeah,
way.
and it's not to say that they don't value every game, but it's different when you're expecting to be a bubble team.
Yeah.
You're expecting to win 30, lose 30, and leave it up to the other 20.
Yep.
Those are the ones that
Those
they're
other
gonna-
20 become a whole lot more important.
Exactly. And when you have a key player that is borderline game time decision, is he going to play? Is he not going to play? And he does not.
Yeah. And you're sitting 50 games into the season.
If that's one of those 20 games,
and you're
that you
3
could've
points
swung.
out. Yeah. Right.
If that's one of the 20 games you could have swung with a lineup decision, then So Colorado has not been in that position in recent years, so they can be conservative with these choices.
Well, and look,
And now it's opportunity.
Martin Kaut is the guy who steps up to the second line, at least to start the game. But
Yeah.
and that's great. We can talk about that. But the reality is the guy who needs to finally break through on that second line with Val out of the lineup has to be Alex Newhook.
It has to be Newhook.
Yep. There's
No
no
points through 7 games is to the point where no points through 3 or 4 games. You're kind of like, yeah, it's not great. And then we've seen him play really well.
Yeah.
And still not score.
But
And you're like, okay, the breakthrough's got to start
Yeah.
to happen here.
He's got to at least find his way to some points.
He could really use a 2 or 3 point night here.
Yeah.
And the Avs could too. I mean,
Yeah.
a night like that where they don't have to get hard carried by Nathan McKinnon. I mean, Newhook, obviously, he's got to produce, man.
Yep.
You need a goal from Kale McCarr.
That would be nice too.
You
Yeah.
really, it's not even just a goal from Kale McCarr. You need some even strength production because
It is very
I think
power
it's
play
5 of
heavy.
7 right
Yeah.
now. It's either 5 or 6 of 7.
It might be 6, I think.
is
even,
on the power play, which is great. Your power play has won them games.
Yep.
Their power play is why that they are sitting in the standings position that
No
they
doubt
currently
about
are
it.
in.
Yep.
But that is going to come down. It is. I know I've said that before. And things haven't dropped the way we thought.
Well,
but
50% is pretty high.
I'm
Literally the greatest power play ever by about 10%.
Yeah, the best power play ever was a Canadiens team that went at 34%.
Yes.
So if you're humming along at 50, you're 16% better than the best power play ever recorded. There's a reason that I'm pretty comfortable saying it's not going to continue. So they've got to get some even strength production out of Kale McCarr, out of their whole roster, and it really, that second line, it's got to happen.
Right, and you would take it from anywhere, but
Of course,
just
you're not going to complain when you get production, but you really want to start
the
seeing
realities of the talent breaks in the lineup.
Yeah.
It's got to be Newhook.
Your third line
Yeah.
is when your team is healthy. What your third line is right now is your fourth line.
Yep.
So you're really not saying, that's
You
a
just
line
can't
you're
expect that
expecting
much out of it. Yeah, exactly.
That's not a line you're asking for a ton out of.
Yep.
But you've gotten, like, LOC has a couple of points. Andrew Cogliano has 3 points this year.
Yeah, I mean, again, both of LOC's points are shorthanded.
Yeah.
Coglianos have come in weird situations where McKinnon's double shifting with them and stuff. But yeah, they've done enough as those guys in the lineup, as a bottom six.
Yeah.
And it's the second line that you really are looking for more out of.
Yeah, and Erod now kind of goals in 3 straight games because he's got 2 goals and then the
But
shootout
again,
goal.
no real 5-on-5 production there. One of those
Yeah.
goals is at 5-on-5.
Yeah, he's got. Yeah, it's just a case where that line, you know, and even with Nichushkin, we look at his points and we're like, well, he's scoring. Half of his points have been on the power play.
Yep.
So you're really just not. You're not getting what you need out of that group. And it's not sustainable. It really,
Right.
You know, we're talking about a couple of weeks here for the season. You know, 7 games in.
Yeah.
You know, there will be 7-game stretches where lines go dry and stuff. But
Well, the thing is, it feels unsustainable in both ways, like you mentioned. Especially the last 3 games, Newhook has been that close. So you kind of feel it coming, and with Nuke out, it's got to be there.
yeah, the sense of urgency goes up
Yeah.
with Newhook, and sense of urgency has to go up for Martin Kaut too. I mean,
Agreed.
he's been okay. I really haven't had a strong problem here.
I agree.
I thought he deserved more minutes. I thought the entire fourth line deserved more minutes against
In
the
that
Rangers.
Rangers game, for sure.
But really, here it is, man.
Yep.
You're never getting a better look than this.
Yep. There's nobody to replace you.
There's no excuses here. You've gotten first call up. You've gotten to play with their injuries. You've played up in the lineup. You played down in the lineup. Your performances have been uneven. You have to capitalize on this right now.
Yep. Got to do it. Capitalize on our new hoodies. I don't know if y'all can see that, but the DNVR hoodies are in. If you already ordered one, they're shipping soon. Yeah, go get yourself one. They're wonderful. I'm
They
all
look
about
great.
them. Blazes bets. I don't know. Did he send bets, y'all here? Nope. All right. I don't have any bets either. So go bet on the Avs to win this hockey game. It's the easiest bet in the world.
I would bet on the over.
Definitely bet the over tonight. Yeah.
I would bet on the over. I would bet on an Alex Newhook goal tonight.
Ooh, I like it.
And I would bet on a Cale Makar goal.
I feel like those are all quality bets. I imagine Alex Newhook goal's probably pretty good money.
Especially if you try and go first goal.
Oh, I mean, you're just sending it if you're putting anyone for first goal. But
It's true.
all right, hang on. Let's see. All right, the over. Oh, now it's giving me a blank. Over is -115 at 6.5, so it is a tie over. But I think you're still probably fine there. It feels like it could be a 4-3 game.
I don't think it is.
No,
No, I think this is going to be more like 5-2 Colorado.
I mean, yeah, sure.
I'm feeling a good Frankie game.
We'll see. Let me see if I can't bring up the player props here. Okay. Cale Makar +150 at over 1.5.
Okay. Send it.
Yeah. I don't know where the goal props are. Sorry. I'm not prepared. for our betting
Usually
tonight.
Blaze has
Yeah.
bets and we don't ever think about it.
Yeah.
But Blaze is off for the weekend.
It's something I just didn't think about for this one. So.
Same. Well, we're not accustomed to 2 of us. Literally, our whole beat is like
Yep.
this
week. Jesse's to Finland.
in Finland.
Megan's at a
Yeah,
wedding.
Megan's got something going on, and Blaze has stuff
yep.
going on this weekend, and Evan's doing other things, and the 2 of us are just. Well, I guess we'll just go to work.
Yep. We're here. We got more work to do. We got a watch along coming up, so we're going to wrap up the pregame show. We'll see you on the watch along in 5 to 10 minutes. And if you're not watching that, of course, we'll be live post game.
Gross. Gross.
AJ is going to blow up about the Astros if we don't end the show.
Gross.
So let's get out of here. See you soon.